Yeah, I don't mind talking about it. I mean, I've been through like a bunch of therapy and stuff to deal with it. It was rough, man. It was rough growing up there. At the time, you don't realise it because it's all you know. And it's only when you move away from what you're used to and you see how other people live, and you're just like, that's not normal. And the problem, I guess, was as well, it wasn't just me going through tough times. It was like the people around about me, my friends. It just anybody that I knew was also going through similar stuff. Alcoholism, violence, just poverty, all these things that kind of blighted a lot of people during the 90s, not just Glasgow, but we did up in Scotland and Glasgow. We almost felt forgotten by the government back in the 80s and 90s, when Margaret Thatcher came to power, and it was the whole rave scene was a big kind of almost like resistance movement against that. I was talking to someone, I'm sure we'll get into the teaching at the college just across the road there later, but I was talking to someone today, one of the students, and she was talking about how drill was a big kind of almost like antithesis, a big FU to seeing how society was changing. Youth centres were closing down, there's nothing for young people to do, and that become when you've got nothing to do, and there's going to be kickback, and that's what happened. When I was growing up, the kickback was like community centres were closing. There was no infrastructure where I grew up. There was nothing for the youth to do. So what do you do when you're a young boy full of testosterone? You got up to mischief, gangs, fights, just stupid stuff, because there is nothing to do. And I think it's unfair that people that grow up in underprivileged areas get tarred with this brush, being thugs and criminals and everything else. It's like, you grow up in broken households. You don't have that family connection. My dad's an alcoholic, so he was missing a lot of my life growing up. You didn't have a father figure. You found your family on the streets. It was your friends that became your family, and it depends who those friends are, what that family ends up looking like, and how your life ends up turning out. You could have been the nicest kid growing up, and then you fall in with the wrong crowd, but they're the people that look out for you, and that determines how the rest of your life goes. I'm just very lucky that the friends that I did find were involved in a music scene that was just so kind of loving and giving, and there was a definitely a side to that as well. Hey. It's all right. Yeah, there was definitely a dark side to that as well. As a lot of music cultures do have, with drugs and alcohol and criminal elements getting involved and all that side of things. But that wasn't none of that side of the stuff appealed to me, because it was going on in day-to-day life so much. You just walk down the streets and you see all that. So it was a real, I think, like a lot of people that do anything outside their normal life, they're looking for an escape. And that was escapism at its finest. You were just going somewhere where you knew there was not going to be any hassle. You knew there was going to be trouble. Everybody that was there was there for the same reason. It was for the love of the music, and the atmospheres that were created back then they're just unparalleled. There's some like great events and stuff now, but I don't think those times can ever be created, because it's just different times now. I mean, we're filming this on an iPhone, which is bonkers, man. We didn't even have mobile phones when I was going out in the 90s. It wasn't a thing. We had the old dial-up numbers, and you'd have to phone a friend's house to find out what's going on, or you'd maybe walk like 3 miles to knock your friend's door, and then he's not in, and then you just walk all the way back home, man. So getting together and doing things like that was a much more of an effort. And to be honest, I'm glad that we didn't have iPhones, etc. then, because some of the stuff we got up to, I'm glad that it was not documented on social media, because my career might have turned out differently, but so be it. Here we are, my friend.
Yeah.